And Revan going to bring you this match.
Finally, somebody I enjoy talking to.
You know, I feel bad they put you with that guy that last series.
He's the worst.
Yeah, he's all right. He's all right. But no, this match obviously going to be your Group A winner decider. It'll be whoever wins this will make it into the bracket play. Now, Orbit looked very good in our first match.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a big test for Faze because we look back at last year when we saw Faze lose tournaments like at MLG Anaheim, MLG Orlando. They were losing to they're having tough games at least against the European teams.
Yes.
So if they're able to show up good games against one of the stronger European squads here in Infinite Warfare, I think it's going to be a good showing for Faze.
Well, I think the story more for me is what we saw with Faze in the first series they played. Is like the aggression was back, right? There was no stalling around, figuring out who's going to make the decision, who's going to make the call. They were just on point, just getting right to the objectives. They were just being very aggressive all the way through. But Renegades didn't really push them back. They didn't really give them much of a battle. I feel like if Orbit pushes back, I'm interested to see how Faze counters that. If they keep up the aggression or they fall into that more passive play we saw last year.
Yeah, one thing I've always loved about watching Faze play is everybody seems to be on the same page. I mean, one thing I've loved from them as well, just from listening in on some of their scrims, Enable has taken more of an in-game leadership role. You hear him, calling out the spawns inside the hardpoint, directing the troops on where to go, where to push out the map. They seem to be one of the most aware teams we have right now in the CWL.
Oh, I mean, Enable is a first-person shooter console legend, I feel like, at this point. What a great Halo player, now a fantastic Call of Duty player. Now, he definitely, I think he's one player that they should listen to. It's funny, we were talking in our first series. It's I feel like in Advanced Warfare, it was all Clay making the calls. Then last year, I feel like too many people tried to make decisions for this team. Now, it seems to have evened out a little bit. It seems to be Enable and Clay, the ones that'll be the shot callers for Faze Clan. But for Orbit, this is a very interesting team from the standpoint of you have two players who got second at last year's COD XP. They find their way off of Splice, and they go over to Orbit.
Yeah, you have some of the star players from Infuse as well going to be joining these former Splice guys as well. And look, I got to give props to Urban. This guy's been playing out of his mind so far. I've been talking to a couple of the European players, and they all agree that Urban is one of the best European players right now in Infinite Warfare. He consistently drops high kill numbers when it comes to the respawn game mode.
Yeah, and it's interesting, Urban did not have a good COD XP for Infused. Did not play well there. Zero, though, definitely one of the best players in Europe last year, looking to see if he can continue that strong play here in Infinite Warfare. Then Rated and Joe, the two players coming over from Splice, they get second at COD XP. It's interesting to see that roster not stay together all the way through Infinite Warfare.
Yeah, I was talking to some of the Splice players as well. I was like, well, I mean, after such a standout performance like that, how come you didn't want to stick together? Some turmoil between the players, and they decide to split. But this is a European team that, you look at the names, and it's easy for them to fly under the radar, but they're not a team that you should underestimate.
I think this is, you look at the teams in Europe right now, I mean, you look at this team and Splice is your top two without a doubt. I don't know if there's any really teams that can contest.
I'm excited to watch Elevate play tomorrow.
Yes, I'm excited to watch Elevate play. I do think, though, if you look at just on paper, these two rosters are far and away the best in Europe.
And I think they mesh well together as well. I mean, you have the supporting cast from Splice, Joe and Rated. Zero was one of the best, if not the best European player in Black Ops 3. I mean, the things that he brings into a game from a slang standpoint, plus you talk about his sniping abilities and search and destroy. This is actually a very well-rounded European team, and I'm excited to watch them progress and see how they improve throughout the year.
Yeah, and I feel like if one team could give Faze trouble, it's a team that they, like you were saying, last year they had trouble with European teams. It's teams that they have not scrimmed often, they haven't been able to watch, and that's exactly what Orbit is, a group of talented players from Europe that this Faze Clan team has not had a chance to scrim, have a chance to watch their VODs. So I feel like Orbit definitely could catch them off guard. Which two players are you looking out for in this series, though?
Well, on the side of Faze, I'm definitely going to be looking at Clayster. I feel like in this game, he's able to play a bit more freely around the map, and maybe that comes off the back of the new mindset that they have about being a bit more aggressive, but this frees up Clayster to roam a bit more, and you see him picking up many more kills in the respawn game modes. On the side of Orbit, I got to be looking out for Urban. I already gave him some praise a bit earlier, but when it comes to the respawn game modes, this guy is as dangerous as it comes when it comes to European players.
Yeah, I think for me, it's Joe on the side of Orbit, just from the standpoint that there's going to put a lot of pressure on him inside the hard points.
Sometimes we like to joke that he's like the budget scump of the Call of Duty scene.
Yeah, it's a joke if that wasn't already a joke. That's one that you just started or just caught on mainstream. But you can see where we are in Group A. This is your Group A winners decider match. It's between Orbit and Faze Clan. And just to finish my thought on the side of Faze, I'm looking at Attach. Him and Zuma in the last series that I got to cast. They were absolutely amazing, just putting that pressure on. Going to see if Attach can keep doing that in this series against Orbit.
And I'm sure Attaches is now happy that he could freely run something like the OSA, and now he doesn't have to worry about being hindered by something like an ERAD here.
So that's like a really good topic that me and Puckett didn't really get to talk too much about in that first series, but with the weapon draft going, and now you have everybody open up to be running the OSA or the K-Bar, you saw throw some teams off. Like Havoc definitely threw off.
Well, you spent so much time practicing one gun.
Right. But do you think it favors a certain team or another, or does it change the way the game plays?
I think it'll definitely change the way the game is played a little bit, because you had players who are like inside the hardpoint, like Attach, right? He's so used to having an ERAD, which will absolutely shred up close. But then when it comes for him to like the time to rotate over to the next hardpoint, that's why you saw him start to struggle a bit in Infinite Warfare, because the routes that he's taken, he can't really challenge the ARs effectively at like mid to long range. Now that he's got like an OSA, or if he wants to make a secondary collapse with like a K-Bar, now he can be a bit more effective in the transitions from hardpoint to hardpoint.
Yeah, I feel like it definitely helps the players out that were playing with the ERAD, like inside of the hard points and around the objectives. Just gives them a little bit more versatility to be able to fight a little bit more at range.
It mainly helps out like those guys. I mean, the anchor players, for the most part, they might stick with the NV4, or if not, the OSA, or even the K-Bar.
So we've seen the NV4 played a little bit, and I feel like it does have a place in respawn game modes as well, like on the larger maps, just because it's really good, like medium to long range. Like there's not a ton of recoil on it, like compared to like an OSA.
It's like an ICR.
Right, yeah. And I feel like it does have a place, but I feel like when the game is played so fast and so in your face, the OSA and the K-Bar definitely outclass it.
Yeah, of course. Just high fire rate, good damage output, make it so when you're up close and personal, even the hip fire is pretty good on those fully automatic AR rifles. But if we're talking about a map like Retaliation, which is what we saw a lot of today, that's where the NV4 can really shine.
Yeah, and I think in Search and Destroy as well, you'll see more NV4. Yeah, just for early picks, a little bit better range. But I got to ask you, I believe we have all of the players in the lobby, so the series should get started rather quickly. Who are you taking in this series?
Oh, man, it's tough to bet against Faze. From what I've seen from them in scrims, they've looked like one of the top teams that I've seen. Them in Luminosity, I expect to see them in the grand finals here. But then again, I don't want to undersell this Orbit team. I think this is going to be a close game. For Orbit to win this, I feel like they have to find a way to steal hardpoint against Faze. From what I've seen, Faze seemed like the best hardpoint team that I've seen play.
Yeah, Faze has looked absolutely lights out in hardpoint. We'll see if Orbit can actually steal this first game. It seems like the players are just waving to me, so I assume...
Zero messed up, I think.
Yeah, I assume Zero actually messed up a little bit. Seems like Faze getting ready to play, Orbit not getting ready to play. It's usually what happens here is we'll have a restart of the lobby, but is there a game mode you feel like that Orbit can definitely take off of Faze?
I mean, look what we've seen from Faze. They've only dropped an uplink so far.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's got to be the game mode. If the Orbit wants to maybe catch them off guard, we saw Faze play one Search and Destroy, the hot 6-0 over Renegades. We've seen how they've performed in the hardpoints as well. They won 2 off Renegades as well. So I think it's got to be the uplink.
I think the uplink, or I think Orbit can definitely shock them in the search with
maybe
some
catch them off
interesting
guard.
Strategies. Yeah,
Zero bringing out the sniper, maybe.
Yeah, the sniper. Well, we saw Chino bring out the sniper rifle in the first series. Didn't really do anything. And Clay running the sniper rifle for Faze. So Faze does have a sniper on their side. You see maybe Zero, one of the better snipers from Europe last year. Maybe he makes a difference in S&D, and they're able to steal one of those.
I mean, just talking a bit more, adding on to that, now with the weapon draft no longer being in play, frees up everybody from Faze if they want to bring out a sniper, which is something that they did last year. We saw multiple players snipe. At one point, we saw all 4 of them when
I was just going to say,
there.
I don't feel like you'll see that in this game just because it's so fast and obviously no overkill.
Yeah.
You're not able to just have that like last year. You
back
had
pocket
VMP always in your back pocket. You're able to run those 4 snipers with the relative ease. I don't think you'll see much of that this year. I don't think you'll see any of it.
All right, well, let's start moving our conversation to the first map we're going to be seeing in the series. It's going to be Breakout Hardpoint, which is one of the favorites among all pro players. This is one where your rotations matter, and we saw it in the last series with Renegades taking out Evil Geniuses. I think this is a great map for Faze. They're a team who knows how to rotate properly and rotate together, and they know when to cut their losses when they're not having success at breaking a hardpoint. I think this is going to be a tough first map for Orbit.
Yeah, this has actually been one of the maps that a lot of the NA teams we've been seeing put a lot of time into. Like this seems to be, I think, like the player's favorite map out of all of the hardpoints. I think with ease. I know every player I've spoken to is just when I've asked them like, "What's your favorite hardpoint?"
Breakout.
Breakout. Easy as your #1. So I expect Faze to come out really well practiced on this one. I'd be shocked if they lose it, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I'm going to be looking at Enable to step up here as well from Faze. He's normally the guy, at least lately, that'll take more control over the anchor position, playing in those back areas of the map, making sure that his team has the spawns under his control. say if he decides to maybe use something like an NV4, if he's going to switch over to a K-bar here.
So I was going to say, we saw him use the NV4 earlier in the series against Renegades, and I liked it a lot from the standpoint that I know he was able to just play inside the hardpoint a little bit further back, closer to his side of the spawns, and he was actually able to pick up a lot of kills. Didn't have to worry about getting flooded head-on, but it'll be game number 1 between Orbit and Faze Clan. We'll see.
Well, this time it's
like
Joe.
We're losing another one, so it seems like Joe this time.
But we can see what Faze are doing, right? They have 3 OSAs, and they're going to have 1 K-bar on Clayster. That's obviously a very strong setup to have, and what that tells you is that, aside from Clayster, the other 3 want to be very aggressive.
Yes, so we talked a little bit about maybe we see Enable with the NV4. Does not look like we're going to see that. He's going to be running the OSA, which, to kind of agree with your point, you're going to see them just play extremely aggressive, just keep pushing out these hills with that OSA. And the OSA, it's a gun that obviously a lot of the players we see going to, we talk about it a lot. It's so good from the standpoint that it's very good at close and very good at range. The only thing about it is like it's very difficult to control recoil-wise. Like it takes a little bit to get used to. I wouldn't say
if I were to compare it
to
maybe a gun from the past, it kind of reminds me of something like an HVK a little bit, where you have that high rate of fire, maybe super long range engagements. Obviously not the AR you want to go to, but you could still make it work if you can control the recoil.
Yeah, it does seem more you mention it seems like the patched HVK, like towards the end of Black Ops 3, where it was extremely effective. You'll see it in long range, close range situations. And, you know, it was even like when you saw people running the ERAD, the submachine gun, when we were planning for weapon draft, you saw a lot of people like use the OSA and like take out those players close range.
Now, one thing that Orbit have to keep in mind here, I'm not sure how much they've studied up on Faze coming into, you know, this weekend's tournament. Faze are one of the teams that love to use grenades, whether it's the Flechette or the Jammer. And this is a game where some teams, they want to stack the weapons as much as possible. I wonder if Orbit are going to be ready.
Why have you thought we have not seen people go towards the lethals and the tacticals thus far?
I feel like because it's such a fast-paced engagement, sometimes you feel like you're slowed down so much by taking the time to toss out either a Flechette or a Jammer. You'd rather get in there. And keep in mind, most of your engagements are going to be happening with your weapon as well. So if you're able to stack attachments on your gun, sometimes we see up to like 4 attachments on any certain weapon, it's just going to make you that much more lethal around the map.
Yeah, and as we kind of just cycle around talking about all the different topics we can touch on, watching a lot of the games, I expected like the payloads to be like big difference makers, right? But we haven't.
We're not seeing a lot aside from the claw.
Overdrive.
Yeah, the claw's like the only weapon that we see.
Yeah, the claw is really the only one that we've seen, but we haven't seen anyone go on like these crazy streaks with it. Like I expected to see, you know, players get the claw and lock down hard points, or you know, maybe one of the other weapons like an equalizer, an eraser, or some.
Oh man, I love the equalizer. Yeah. I totally understand why the players prefer, you know, an ability like a rewind here, but the equalizers are definitely one of the more stronger like.
I feel like though
weapons.
We'll get to a point in Infinite Warfare, obviously, like we're super early in, like where you'll see players go away from the abilities, or maybe not all of the abilities, right? I think you'll still have your reactive armors, you'll still have your camos and your overdrive, like. I feel like Rewind is one that in respawn game modes I feel like will find its way like cycling out, and I feel like you'll see another weapon coming in. I feel like you just get so much more from one of the weapons.
I mean, just like theory crafting a little bit here. Imagine what a player like maybe Zuma or Attach could do with the equalizers in his hands. Sure, it takes a long time to one, but I can just imagine them just wreaking havoc in a hard point.
Is the potential of getting one use of those better than Rewind?
Than like 2 or 3 rewinds? I think that's exactly why they choose to shift more towards the ability over the weapon, is because you get more usage out of it. And keep in mind, Rewind, obviously you can compare it to Glitch in the past, but it's a more stronger version here. You regenerate your ammo, you get your health back. As now the map is starting, everybody's in the game. Breakout hardpoint, Faze versus Orbit. Let's get this going.
Now we'll start things off with Enable. We talked a lot about him pre-game, but Enable taking a little bit more of a leadership role on this Faze team this year. Nah, he'll be rocking the OSA here early.
And take a look at his class as well. He's only got 3 attachments on the OSA, stacking up on the perks. So just playing it safe here as he makes his way towards the hard point. He's going to be met by Orbit players who see through the X-ray vision. Early nades coming in from Zuma. Going to pick off rated there as he makes his way inside. That's all 4 down for Orbit, and Faze already had the perfect setup going.
Well, not a good start for Orbit. They actually just trying to push through the middle of the map. It's some nades and tacticals coming in from the side of Faze and throw them for a loop. And I wonder, actually, it's quite interesting because obviously we have not been able to watch a ton of Orbit. Obviously, an EU team, we don't get a chance to see a ton of their scrims. I wonder if teams in Europe are running lethals and tacticals. I wonder if it's something that they don't see quite often.
I mean, we do see Zero. He's got the Flechette grenade on, and There we go. Blast shield, attack resist as well. And I really liked what I saw from Orbit right there. Zero took the time to overextend all the way through to break out that spawn trap, but Faze, they waste no time getting back set up as less than 10 seconds remaining on this first hard point. Enabled here to trade the kill out onto Urban, but as he falls, it's going to be Clayster now leading the rotation for Faze as we move over towards the cell block.
Yep. It'll be Clay with 2 players here for Orbit to get through. He's actually able to just push all the way out, and he takes out Rated. Now looking towards the opposite side of the hard point, just trying to stay alive, wait for his players with the OSA to get closer, and just be able to take these players out from close quarters. He's able to get 1, but it's going to be 3 kills that go down for Orbit. But look at Faze, they still control those spawns, Revan.
Yeah, because Attach is staying alive in the back. Now they flood on into the hard point, looking to make the trades work in their favor. I got to switch over to this guy, Urban, on a 4 kill spree right now as he gets hit by a jammer. He's going to be making his way around the back wall run, fighting the Faze players coming off respawn as he gets shut down. Has left up the Rated, working with Zero inside the hard point as it's going to be Orbit establishing a lead here.
Yeah, and you see Faze just still relentlessly pushing this hard point. They're able to get in for a split second, but here comes Urban over the top, just trying to just wait for some teammates, but he's going to get taken out. So actually a pretty good break there. Yeah, pretty good break there from Faze, but here comes the rotation. You see Clay getting set up. This is looking very good for Faze.
And look, it's so important that you hold the cavern here as we move over towards the graveyard hardpoint. And important interactions now go down with Clay as he takes down Rated. His teammates desperately trying to move over. Clay's done a great job staying alive for the time being. Control the hardpoint as they start to fly in, and now he's starting to get some help from his teammates as Zuma is able to find 2. Clay's staying alive into the hardpoint. Still, he's done such a massive job of coming around the flank. It's going to be Joe. He's able to find 2. Can't get the 3rd. As 3 go down for Faze, it's going to be Orbit pushing in, taking control of the hardpoint as they look to come back into the game.
And I feel like Faze right there, if they had more players getting close to the hardpoint to like push through and keep Clay alive, that this could have been a hill where they could have taken almost the entire time on it. But there was just no support there for Clay.
I mean, maybe if Clay was able to commit over towards cavern, push on through and play that corner over near the guard tower, that's an angle that we've seen players just be a nuisance in. Just cut off the rotation as teams turn the corner and immediately focus over near cavern, but now we see Zuma in the power position for this hardpoint, able to find 1, but he's quickly traded out. Enable now following up inside the hardpoint. Can't clean that one up. As Orbit doing a great job of breaking through, but looks like both teams just kind of splitting time there. Now the rotation over towards the final hard point. You already have Rated set up near the back scanners, holding the anchor for his team. Zero does spawn up near him, as now it's Faze starting to build a lead. They're up by roughly 30 points.
Yeah, but you look, and it's 2 players for Splice over at the next hill, and it's for Splice. It's actually hilarious. It's 2 players for Orbit over at the next hill, and you see Faze, they just overwhelmed it with 3, but it's going to be Orbit. They're finally able to break it, get inside of the hard point. It's going to be Joe here, and you know exactly where Faze is going to be coming from.
Yeah.
They're trying to get across the wall run. This is a dangerous spot to be in. It's pretty easy to get picked off when trying to come across.
Faze should just wait for Clay to make a play. Come around back, he finds 1, gets the 2nd as well, but his teammates all died moving across the wall run, but the spawn's now going in favor of Faze as they have 2 players inside the hard point. You see Orbit trying to push him through the middle of the map, pitching on through. Time starting to wind down on this hard point as Faze are going to be able to pinch right on back across the side wall run. It's going to be Zero as players trying to drop, enable luck all alone for Faze. It's a clean break for Orbit as once again they break into the hard point, but it's too little too late. Less than 10 seconds remaining now. Faze are happy to give that up.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of been the story for Orbit so far. It's like they get control of the hard points like right at the end for the last few seconds or right at the beginning. It's going to be Clay set up inside the middle hut here. He's going to throw an nade. He's going to drop pretty quick. And Zuma gets in, and I believe actually I saw Enable switch over to the NV4, so just going to keep a note on that, see if he sticks with it, but no, it looks like in the kill feed he's actually gone back to the OSA. So saw just for 1 hill, it seemed like Enable switches his weapon, but now goes back to the OSA. They need a little bit more pressure on the hardpoint.
And you know, I actually like that. You look at the angles that he was playing with on the commissary hardpoint, bit longer range, especially if he's going to be anchoring near like that back pad side of the map. You definitely would prefer something like an MV4.
Well, right. I think they were kind of planning, like if they got control of it, he was going to be able to watch that wall run and be able to pick up players with ease from a distance. But some nice kills there by Rated with the K-Bar inside of the hill. And now you see Orbit starting to get some nice time.
As it's going to be Faze breaking right on in. 1 player remaining. 3 go down for Orbit as Faze looks to set up the spawn trap once again. Enable here to follow up where Zuma left off inside the hardpoint. Time winding down, and they're a little bit late on this rotation. It's Clayster all alone. Once again, just like the previous graveyard hardpoint we just saw, Clay alone on rotation. Needs some help from his teammates if they want to solidify the early position. Camo to break in for Joe as he's looking to secure his position inside the hardpoint. Yeah, but he does get traded out.
But you see how fast the rest of Faze is to just rotate over. After Clay gets that 1 kill, it's going to be Attach and Zuma inside the hardpoint. They're able to pick up a kill apiece. You see Tatch just hunting for players as he needs to push this out, I feel like, Revan. If he pushes this out, spawns the Orbit team a little bit further away, then that's when Faze can get some good time on this hill.
Yeah, Faze don't have anybody in the back, so it's going to be Orbit spawning there. Tatch not starting to go on a bit of a spree. He's 125 away from those Trinity Rockets. About to earn his rewind as well. 20 seconds remaining. He's going to find one more kill, 50 points away from his next tier score streak. Rewind here if he wants to pop it. 3 go down for Orbit. It's been a great hard point so far for Faze as they're starting to run away with this game.
Yeah, it's really been Clay doing a nice job picking up kills on rotation. Attached currently on a 7 streak, playing quite well here with the OSA as soon as they say that he drops the hands of Dro. It's going to be the side of Orbit. They're going to be rotating over towards the next hard point as you see it pop up. Looks like Clay, the only one over there for Faze, can go on board with Clayster. He's able to have Zuma there in support. They take out one. They're going to actually use the streaks of Attach, and he's not going to get anybody with it.
Yeah, I hopped over to Zuma. He popped his reactive armor there. It looks like Faze, they were trying to set up a pinch from both sides of the hard point, but Orbit committed over towards Caverns. Camo now popped by Enable as he breaks into the hard point, gets the important kill on the player in the back, takes out 2, make it 3 for Enable as Faze break on in, and now it's Enable with streaks to use as well.
And he's in such a great spot to pick up more kills as players come around the corner. You saw Zero just fly around, Enable just playing such a nice spot here. He has teammates looking over him into the cavern, and he's just able to just play inside of the hill and pick up these kills. But see Urban there picks up 2, thing that probably breaks it open for Orbit, but I feel like the damage is done as Faze is just, it's been interesting, Revan, to watch, right? I mean, these hard points, they've seemed like they've kind of gone back and forth, like each hill's contested, but the score is just so lopsided in favor of Faze.
Well, what's happening is Orbit, they wind up breaking into the hard point when there's 15 seconds remaining.
Yeah.
So then they set up, and it's like, oh, Faze, they're like, well, okay, you can have the final time here. Let's set up for the next hard point. Scorch is not being called in to force Orbit off of the hard point. 2 go down, make it 3 as Enable finds rated, and Enable still has his streaks to follow up with as Faze take control of the hard point. They're looking to close out this game pretty soon as they have an 80-point lead.
Yeah, this one is not looking good for Orbit. I feel like with all these streaks coming into play for Faze now, and already Faze with a lead, it would be a little bit of a miracle if the side of Orbit was able to make a comeback here. Attached.
Rewind is so much fun to watch.
Yeah, looking for kills. He's going to use the rewind. He's got 2 players around him. Enable's able to get 1. It's Urban, though. He keeps flying in, picking up these 2 pieces for Orbit. That opens up the hard points, but you've seen it's just not a consistent way to break.
Yeah, of course. You just look at the general slaying coming from Orbit as bombardment from Enable gets called in. Kills himself and a teammate in the process.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
Everybody falls for Orbit. Scrap time should still go in favor of Faze. It's going to be Urban. Not sure why he's still fighting that. Could have set up over towards the visitor room hardpoint that's coming up here. Joe around the flank, able to find 1. But once again, I'm going to bring the conversation back towards the slaying from Orbit because it's non-existent right now. Nobody going positive here.
Yeah, and I mean, one of their big players, Zero, right now, he's sitting at double negative. Yeah, just not having a great game. And I feel like that is definitely a huge proponent to why Orbit is not seeing success here. And you see, actually, that was a claw pulled out there for a split second and quickly gets taken out. But I feel like a big reason why Orbit has not been able to hang in this game is Zero. I mean, they rely on him so much in the slaying department. And for him to be 17-33 obviously reflects in the score.
I mean, look, he was such a high-impact player for Infused last year. Obviously, his presence isn't felt for this map. It's Faze 30 seconds away from closing out map 1 here in our Group A winners match. Looking at Faze, it's everybody chipping in, man. They're all 30 kills and above. They all have over a minute inside the hard point. Such a well-rounded effort for this Faze team.
You see Attach just pre-firing this doorway, just waiting for opponents to come through. Just going to slide in, watch his back as another teammate in the previous door. It's going to be Enable. He's able to just look over him, keep him alive, and you just see the SMG, well, not the SMG players, but the aggressive players. They're using the OSA like it's an SMG for Faze, just pushing up on the map. Now it's going to be 244, 134. So Urban trying to make his way back towards the wall run, but
lucky he's got propulsion, man. I thought he was going to fall off.
You can pretty much stay in the air forever.
Yeah, you can fly like a bird. It's going to be Urban, though, inside the hard point. He's got rewind, can't shoot through that wall, but he's going to stay alive as Orbit. They're fighting till the very end here. Something I love to see. Starting to get warmed up as well. You see them starting to slay a little bit more around the map. Faze certainly taking their time to break this hard point, but here comes the flood. 3 go down for Orbit. This could be the final push for Faze, as there we go. That's going to be game. Faze closing out map number 1, winning by 90 points.
I feel like almost when you say they're starting to pick it up towards the end of a game like that, it's like
they're already too far down.
So much garbage time. It's like, yeah, like kind of like celebrating that like you're picking up points at the end of an NBA game. It's like not really something to like kind of call home about. But see, it's going to be Faze winning map number 1, looking as strong as ever here at PSX.
I mean, just look at these the stat lines for Faze. Zuma, 40 and 29, a minute 14 inside the hardpoint. Enable, 34 and 29, a minute 37. Clayster, he drops 31 and 28. Everybody going positive for Faze. everybody with a minute 14 is the least amount of time that comes in from Zuma because he pushes so far outside the hard point, whereas on the side of Orbit, Slaying is just not there.
It's the combination of Faze's aggression, and then also now I think if it helps one team more than any, the fact that, you know, Attach does not have to run the submachine gun anymore. Everybody can run, you know, whether an OSA or a K-bar. And they're all able to just kind of like be interchangeable parts, just do things differently. Whether, you know, Attach sometimes gets there first, and now he's anchoring the position, and Clay's playing inside. It just gives them so many more options that they would not have had otherwise.
All right, so now we look ahead in the series as Faze now up 1-0 in the map count. Looks like it's going to be a Retaliation, Search and Destroy coming up next. Now, we just saw it played in the previous series. We saw how Renegades like to spread out across the map, you know, for hitting whichever bomb site they wanted to go. It feels like obviously the offense could dictate where the action happens, but the defense, they have to figure out a setup where they could have a presence near both bomb sites. Maybe you have somebody play like way back in the market to cover, you know, the A bomb site where it's still being aggressive over towards B. This one's tough to play on the defensive end.
Yeah, because it's so big. It's just so spread out as well that I feel like you want to cover both, right?
Yeah.
And you can't just stack 2 players at each bomb site because you leave the
just get overwhelmed.
Middle of the map open. You get overwhelmed by just a 4-stack. And it's like, well, what do? Do you just 4-stack yourselves and just kind of go check one side, clear it out, and then just rotate over to the other? I don't think either team, well, I don't want to say either of these teams. I don't think any team has really figured out Search and Destroy
It's still
yet.
so early.
Because one, it's so early, right? And then a lot of the time, Search and Destroy, they don't practice it as much. Like, it's not something where they'll play it in scrims or whatnot. They usually like to keep their strategies a little bit more close to the vest. They don't want to put them out there. Where I feel like, you know, teams come in and they have an idea of what they want to try, but they just don't know if it works.
I mean, look, it's always good to have a plan whenever you're going into Search and Destroy. But like you're saying, it's still so early to tell if your plan is actually a good one, right?
Yeah.
There's still kind of, it's a trial and error process. All right, does this strategy work? No, it doesn't. Is there anything we could maybe change about it to make it more viable, or do we have to just scrap it right away? Although I do say, from seeing this map played in the previous series by Renegades, I loved how they just stuck together as a team. No matter what they wanted to do, no matter what their plan of action was, they did it together as a 4-man squad.
Let me ask you before we get into this game. I know you said Orbit's best chance was to win an uplink. If they lose this S&D, is this series going to Faze, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think it's got. I can't see Faze
well.
letting up a reverse sweep here. Now, one thing I'm very curious to see is how Zero is going to step it up coming into this Search and Destroy. I want to know, because we did see Chino bring out the sniper a little bit. Zero's not going to have it out for this first round, but maybe it's something he can bring out for future ones.
Now, we'll see. It'll be the side of Orbit on offense. You can see the minimap in the top left and just kind of give you a perspective of what we were talking about, of like how large the map is and how much area you actually have to cover. And it's going to be Zero as one player directly around the corner, fires some shots, and you can see with X-Ray, he cannot see that player right there sitting in the corner. He has no idea. It's going to be Rated getting that first kill, though.
Yeah, this top roof area is so important to control when you want to get that bomb down over at the B site. 2 kills going in favor of Orbit. Tough situation now for Faze, as Attach is able to find one. Looks like he's lost Zuma, though. Zuma, last one alive. Can't pick up the kill. Orbit win their first offensive round, setting the tone here. Search and Destroy on Retaliation.
And you just see they get so aggressive over towards the bomb site, and you just cannot fight it in any way. Just pushing straight down into the B bomb site. They're able to get control. Rated gets first blood. And then Faze, I mean, you can't push down from market. That's like just an easy choke to just push down. It's too narrow. And what? I mean, you come up on top of the catwalk there. You come out of the hotel. I mean, you're like a free kill out there just being that far out in the open. It's a very difficult bomb site to retake.
So very early on in Infinite Warfare, it seems like this map favors the offensive side a little bit. Let's see how FaZe decide to approach their offensive round here. Still looking to control that top padded area, but I want to highlight one player. It's going to be Zero. You see him number 4 on your minimap. Let's see if we can make something happen later in the round as action going down over near the B bomb site.
Yep, it'll be a 3v3 once the bomb goes down. As
he's going on an adventure, man. Look at Zero.
Yeah, he is going for a very long walk here as he's going all the way on the flank. Yeah, he is the only one alive at this time. I feel like if his teammates would have waited, this could have potentially worked out. It's going to be FaZe winning the round, but if his teammates could have waited and just until he got into a position to strike and then collapsed, maybe that works out for Orbit.
Whenever you set up a play like that, the playmaker is the guy going on the flank. Everybody else just has to hold their position because what they're doing is they're making it so FaZe cannot push forward. So that FaZe is just being stagnant. They're standing still on the map. Zero coming around the flank. He's looking to open things up because if he's able to find the first kill there, that draws the attention from FaZe away from what they want to look at. Then the remaining players from Orbit can pounce and they can collapse onto the FaZe members.
Yeah, in that situation, Zero's teammates cannot get picked before he goes to the flank. But here's going to be an aggressive B hit coming in from Orbit. But you see FaZe Clan changing up their defensive setup. They push all the way down onto the B site and then back out.
Okay, so this could give a bomb plan up to Orbit as Faze start to rotate over, exploring their options around the map. Of course, we always like to see that they're doing it together, staying together as a 3-man squad. As the bomb is going to get planted here by Rated. This puts a timer on Faze's push. Let's see how they decide to retake this bomb site.
And now Faze, obviously, with a ton of time left to get over towards the bomb. It's going to be Urban picking up Clay in the hallway, but I would have liked to see them actually go on a little bit of a longer flank. Enable's able to get one, but now it's going to be a 1v2. It's going to be Enable, the last one alive here, going up against Rated in 0. Now, you know, Faze had a ton of time to work with. I feel like they just started to push up, get a little bit too reckless. Like, I feel like you could have checked your corners a little bit better as you push through the hotel, or honestly, just go all the way around on a longer flank.
It's so easy to get isolated inside that hotel area as well. As Enable falls, Orbit go up 2-1 in the lead, but when you're trying to push it and retake through the hallways, like you saw, I believe it was Urban who was just being a nuisance. He picks up a kill, then he runs back behind cover. It's so tough to actually track that player down and finish that kill. I'm getting to there near the patio roof before falling. As Faze, sure they're losing, but still so early on in this map.
Yeah, we've seen the offensive sides just assert dominance here on Retaliation, Search and Destroy this far. Let's stay on board with the offensive side. We'll go on with Faze. It looks like just going to be a standard. Everybody hit B, and I'm surprised to see Orbit not change up their strategy and stack a little bit more towards this B site.
Let's see if they maybe play a bit more patiently for Zero to make something happen. There's first blood coming in from Zuma, taking down Rated. Now action continuing to go down over to the bomb site. One more player to get past. There's such a fighting 4-on-3 here because we get Zero.
I love how you said, like, maybe they'll play a little bit more patient. As soon as you said, like, play a little bit more patient, like, 2 players just jumped out into the middle of nowhere with no cover whatsoever and just got picked off with ease, but it's going to be Zero and Urban evening things up here. It's going to be Attached, though, picking up 1, and
they just can't work together there.
Ends with the quickness. Faze takes it.
They are so far away from each other that they're fighting 2 different 1v1s, and Faze here, they have the defender's advantage after they get that bomb planted. I mean, once again, the European players here being a bit too overly aggressive in Search and Destroy when they're setting out a player to make a play happen.
Now we'll see if one of these teams can figure out a way to win on defense. It'll be Faze's turn. I think if you're Faze, just stack everybody at B. Just fly and be aggressive. Everybody over at the B site. It looks like they're going to send one player through the top hotel. They're going to try and make a play over towards B. And you see Orbit, they knew that push was coming. They played a little bit further back, but it's going to be Zuma getting first blood. That's huge for Faze.
Yeah, that's such a big first blood because it gives them inside lobby control, which means that they have the rooftop control as well. It looks like Joe trying to back up as Zuma gets picked off, and nobody there from Faze to trade the kill, so some aggression being shown by Zuma. Doesn't pay off here as Orbit tie up the man count. It's 3v3, but what is Orbit doing here? Why are they spreading so far away from each other?
Yeah, Joe going on a very long flank here. He's probably trying to open up over towards Market, but it's going to be Enable killing Rated, and that's actually going to be bombed down. So now Orbit in a very difficult position. You're relying on Joe to come on this long flank and make a big play.
As he makes his way around, is he going to spot this player on the stairs? Oh, come on.
No.
Come on. You gotta see
Are
that.
you serious?
You gotta see that.
Are you serious?
You gotta see that. There's no way.
He's right there.
Anyways, it's Urban left in a 1v2, making a 1v1. Urban versus Attach. Rewind ready to pop here if he wants to pop it. Low spot Attach on the way, but he decides to reload here.
This is one of the oddest rounds of Search and Destroy we've ever seen.
Time starting to wind down here. He's got to plant the bomb. Attach is right behind the pillar. Attach is going to spot him. Good trigger discipline being shown by Attach. That's Urban. He's going to turn back around. 5 seconds remaining here. I think Attach is going to clutch out the round, but how odd was that? You think if Joe actually spots the player on the stairs there, this is around that Orbit wins?
I think if Joe spots that player that he walked directly on top of and kills it, they probably win the round. Yes, Trevin. I mean, right there, it was just
rough.
Some odd plays. Very smart play, though, from Attach, like you were saying. Like, not challenge that fight. Never would have known what could have gone on in a gun battle like that. You know, maybe Zero hits a nice headshot, and he's able to take him out. Just plays a very smart way to win Faze that round.
Especially because he has a rewind, right? As soon as he maybe starts getting shot at in an unfavorable position, just taps his triggers, activates that payload. Now inside the hallway, Attach is going to find 2 players in. This time Zero, he's working a bit more quickly on the flank. I want to switch over him because he's obviously going to be the playmaker here, but Faze, they've really yet to progress up the map. It seems like they know exactly what's going to happen here from Zero as he pinches in through the bar. He's yet to spot anyway, but there's first blood coming in from Urban. A good start for Orbit here as they're on the defensive end.
Yeah, Urban and Zero laying some shots into Attach. They're able to take him out with relative ease at the beginning of the round, so we'll see where Faze goes now with bomb in hand. Looks like Clay just trying to set up over here, trying to clear out Market, but they know there's players in the top hotel. They need to get rid of this player in the bedroom. It's going to be Rated. Going to take out Enable here, and another long flank coming in. We see Zuma now trying to make his way all the way around, and I believe he spots one player all the way in the back, but Zuma's going to be the last one alive. Looks like we're going to see a defensive round win here from Orbit. So they close out the round by taking Zuma out, tied up at 3-3 here, Revan. What do you think these teams need to change up? We've seen like minor success from the defensive side from both sides. What do you think they can change up?
They got to stop spreading out. You got to work together as a team here in order to win Retaliation, Search, and Destroy. Where Faze go wrong in that round there, after they get first blooded, they start to fan out across the map. You had one player over near the top patio roof, one player over near the main bridge, one player over near the garage, near the B bomb site. You're never going to be able to work effective trades here in Search and Destroy or overwhelming and catch an opponent off guard when you're that far away from each other on the map. Stay together, stay clumped up, and try to work your man advantages where you can find them.
Yeah, so I think what Orbit's trying to do now on the offensive side of things, so Faze is going to put that pressure down over towards B. So instead of just rushing there right away, they're trying to bait some of these players out, get Faze poking a little bit too far, and just play a little bit more defensive setup here on offense. But the scary part is, as Joe gets behind enemy lines, is that this opens up, once Joe clears this out, for the option the bomb would be wrapped over towards A, and they have no idea Joe's all the way here in the back.
That's exactly why I had Clayster highlighted here, because Joe ran right past him, and Clay makes him pay right there as he takes down Rated. Joe's still behind enemy lines as well. He's going to get spotted here. Faze knows exactly what's up. You see the pinch starting to get formed here. Clay challenges the engagement. Joe knows exactly what's going on here, but Enable already in a good spot. Picks up that kill as it's all up to 0 now.
But look how far they are spread out again.
Exactly.
I mean, there's no team play here from Orbit coming in as 0 fires some shots. Nice headshot there to take Zuma out from behind the car. And Scott his FTL jump ready. I don't know when he would decide to use that here, but it looks like Attach going to be watching over towards this A bomb site. This is one where Zero's going to try. It looked like he was going to try and get bombed down, but now he's spotted both, and he's going to go for the challenge.
Faze, there's no need to commit both players here. If Zero finds one, he could realistically find that kill. If he spots this player, FTL jumps forward. No, not going to happen now. I was very scared for Faze there because you only need to challenge one player in that scenario. There's not enough time for Zero to get the bomb flying off. Just play it safe. Have the other player just run away from the map like you saw there. Was too close for my comfort there, but in the end, Faze, they clutch up, they win the round.
So now we'll see Faze on offense. We'll see if they can kind of take control of the Search and Destroy. They win this one, it'll go to 5-3. They're looking in a pretty good spot to take this map.
Okay, so Enable with the bomb in hand. They're back on offense. Nade's going out over near the Market stairs as different approach here on the defensive end from Orbit. By playing Nobody Market allows for a free bomb plant here over at the B site. Let's swap over to Clayster as he's looking over his teammate. Zoom is able to find the kill onto Joe, so it's now left up to Zero and Urban to make things work here for Orbit. And once again, guess where Zero is? Coming along the flank.
But they're doing these flanks, but they're just not getting anything for it. Like, meaning, like, they'll get one kill, but, like, now nobody's close to each other. I mean, look, if you're Faze, you have an idea where both players are. Just isolate one, trade that out effectively, and then the round is yours. But they're going to actually let Urban take out Enable on the opposite side of the map, and they know they have Clayster trapped inside Garage here. Clay is going to have to jump out and challenge. He's not going to win the gunfight. Zero takes him out, so the bomb get defused. And Orbit finally wins the defensive round.
I feel like Urban really wins that round for Orbit. After he picks up his first kill in the round, he doubles back through the patio roof, and he catches Enable as he was trying to reflank and reestablish position over near the roof side of the map. Clay was left in a tough spot because you only have 2 exits from the garage side of the map. Either you come back down near the wall, or you move in through the doorway out through the lower street. He had to commit to one engagement. Fortunately, he got pinched in the end. Now it's going to be Orbit as they tie things back up. They're on offense here. You still have Zero with the FTL jump. Has a Scarab to use here if he wants to call it in to try to get some information.
They'll be Orbit trying to push in over towards that B side again. And this time they don't play slow. This time they go with aggression. It's going to be Zuma and Enable picking up some kills for Faze. So the aggression does not pay off for Orbit as they just have one player standing. It's going to be Joe left alive against all 4 members of Faze Clan. Well, it looks like Faze, they push all the way through. They have no idea where Joe is positioned here.
Joe, this is not where you want to go, my friend. Back on up. Play your life. I mean, obviously, the percentages are low here for him to win the round, but still percentage for him to win. Able to find one, takes down Able to re-challenge here. But everybody else from Faze is there. He gets overwhelmed. Faze now on map point.
I feel like once you challenge there and you get one, you give up your positioning. I don't really hate. Yeah, I don't really hate the idea of re-peeking this. He just had no idea that Clayster is coming through this little side opening here. I mean, if he had any idea he was coming, you would just lay down on that ramp and he would have been able to take him out with ease. But I feel like once you win that first engagement, if you're able to challenge and get the second one, then everybody starts playing a little bit more cautious on Faze, and that's when you have an opportunity to clutch around like that.
I mean, the thing is, like, in the mind of Joe, if his team was in the opposite scenario and there was one alive for the other team, he wants his team to group up and play together, play for the trades. So it's really interesting that he decides to re-challenge there. By the way, active camera pop there. Oh, it's Christmas for Enable. He finds 3 players. Going to recon for the second. His teammate is there. 2 remaining players here. Zuma's also going to pop his payload. Reactive armor here. Challenges one on the staircase as there you go. Faze. Close out retaliation, search and destroy. They go up 2-0 in the series as they're looking to 3-0 the European competition.
Yeah, and that's really one of the first rounds, first plays we've seen where, Reactive and Active Camo come into play, and they worked to perfection. You saw Enable get into position. He spots 3 players there on the staircase with Active Camo, calls it out to a teammate. He picks one. His teammate picks up another. Then Zuma challenging there with Reactive Armor at the end. And you can see the faces on orbit. Just by looking at that, you can pretty much guess the series score. It's 2-0 in favor of Faze Clan. So we take a look at some of the stats. Zuma went absolutely crazy during that S&D.
Yeah, also got to get it up to Enable. He goes 7 and 8, but he's got 3 bomb plants as well, putting his life on the line to get the objective down. Urban had a pretty good search and destroy as well as Zero, but once again, the mistakes that we saw Orbit making always came on the defensive end when they would send Zero on that long flank, but more often than not, nothing really came of it.
You always value the objective players.
That's because I was an objective player. I always got to play.
I was a Slayer. I couldn't care less about the objective, to be quite honest with you.
See, if you guys have never played any type of game with Mr. X, he is allergic to any sort of objective. He will always bait his teammates out. So, like if you're going inside the hard point, he'll be the guy not necessarily looking over you, but just baiting you into the hard point so he can pick up the kills after. He's probably one of the worst teammates you could ever have, but somehow he found a way to win tournaments.
That's really, really accurate on my playstyle. I know me and Puckett, we game all the time, and I'm just complaining like, oh, nobody's doing the objective. And Puckett's just laughing because it's like I'm nowhere near the objective myself.
You're not going to.
And I know I have no intent to go over near the objective. So game modes like uplink and hardpoint I'd be pretty poor at. But going into this the third map, it'll be uplink. Do you think that Orbit has any shot at this?
It's tough because now in order for them to win the series, they have to pull off the reverse sweep.
Yeah.
Which is always a tough feat to do, and you got to figure there's a lot of momentum in Faze, and they're a good team at keeping momentum in their favor. You saw Clayster getting hyped at the end of that search and destroy. You got to figure that if Clay's having a good game, it translates to his teammates as well, and he shifts the energy over to the rest of his team. Yeah,
this is a Faze team that once they get rolling, they're really hard to stop, and I feel like this is a big event for them just in the standpoint that, like, last year, you obviously did not have the placings you wanted. Every event I felt like it was like, oh, this is Faze's chance. Like, this is where they look good. And they never had that. And I feel like this is a good event for them. Like, let's say they go on and they win it, or even if they play second, like where they can really just kind of build on this for the rest of the year. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but Faze, at least from last year, they've always seemed like a team where if they match up better against another team, they're going to win that 100% of the time. But if they match up against like the likes of, maybe another Slay heavy team, they have a bit of a tougher time. They seem to me where, when they know they're clearly better than the opponents, like they just play with like just a level of like, I don't want to say like arrogance, but I guess that's the word you would use. They just play with a level of arrogance where they know they can't be touched. They know they're going to win these games. But then when you see them like lose a game, they start to come back to like the real world a little bit. And then that's when like, they start kind of questioning each other and things come into play that you're just not exactly sure where this Faze team can kind of just find solace and really get together and start playing well again. And in that situation, I think I put more pressure onto Enable than anybody else on the Faze. I feel like he's the guy to, when things are going wrong for Faze, he's the guy to bring everything back and reestablish the focus of the team. No, I think Clay's definitely more of the hype man, but when the momentum starts to die down, Clay also starts to get a little bit more quiet. And I think Enable is just like the clear, like, calm, collected person on the team that's like, hey, guys, let's refocus here. Let's look at where we are in the series and start to come back. Yeah, it's like you need different leaders in different situations. Yeah. It's like if everybody's, like, down and just, like, down, like, emotionally, just drained, it's like that's when you need Clay to really, like, hype everybody up, get everybody back in the game mindset-wise. I feel like when you do need that calming presence, I feel like Enable would be the better option. I know sometimes working with Clay, like, he can go a little crazy. He's, like, starting to scream. He's getting everybody hyped, and then, like, things go wrong, he's like still yelling, and then usually when like things are going wrong, nobody wants to hear anybody yell like in their ear or whatnot. It's good to hear a calming voice like Enable, probably. Yeah, communication starts to die down as well, and Enable just refocuses the entire team. It's something that I think throughout his many years of competing, probably the skill that he's picked up. It's just the experience. You just pick that up from competing. Like you've played in every situation, you know what to do, you know what to say. Enable, just an FPS veteran. But if you're just tuning in, it's going to be Game 3 between Faze and Orbit. It'll be Uplink on Throwback for Game 3. this is one that we both figure that FaZe should be able to close this series out. But no, Orbit, they will not go down without a fight. They looked better towards the end of that hardpoint game. Search and destroy, it was just basically a battle of the offensive sides where FaZe was able to win, one more defensive round and end up taking it. But going into uplink, Revan, on this map specifically, is there one side you would look at right now and favor more than the other?
I would say the sides, for the most part, seem a little bit more 50-50, but there's definitely a side of the map that we want to push to control, and that's over near the bike path side of the map. If you're able to push that, regardless of the side, you spawn the other team out, and you have more options available to you when you want to go for the scores.
Yeah, so the goal from both teams is to control the bike path area, because if we're able to control bike path and push the drone straight up, the opposing team will spawn at the top of the mini-map, and that's just a really wide open field, and with so many ARs in play, it's very difficult to make it down.
Attach looking to be annoying here as he's pushed up near enemy lines, but should get spotted momentarily by Rated as he just repositions himself, and yeah, Rated will spot him. Let's switch over to him as he picks up the drone to go down for FaZe. And here you go, as Orbit take control of the FaZe's side of the bike path, they can now push through the grandma's house, make their way for the dunk, but he crosses the 1 point out, and he does wind up getting that. I gotta get used to following the drone. It's a new feature. I haven't used it yet.
It's a new feature. You're going to get a chance to play with it, but no, definitely an awesome improvement to Codcaster.
For sure.
And I mean, we're just at the beginning of the game, right? I mean, we have not thought of
better.
all the different things. It can only get better. Infinity Ward doing a fantastic job making updates to Codcaster regularly. And you see Urban is going to come through the mid-hallways, able to get one, and the kill feed dominated by Orbit right now. They should be able to pick up the drone and get at least one more point out of this.
Okay, so starting to push forward. Step one, get control of the bike path side of the map. From there, you can easily settle for a 1 point toss if you want to hit the wall run on the grandma's house, or you could try to push on through for the dunk, as Orbit's still looking for that second cycle of kills before they decide to move in for the score. As Joe falls, here's the first one pushed up for Orbit. Can't get the second, is Rated. Now switching back over to the point of view from FaZe as they look to control the middle of the map.
Now Zuma's going to push all the way through bike path, and I like this decision because if he can just pick up some kills on the Orbit side of the map, this is going to force Orbit to rotate all the way back. He's not able to get anything there. Nah.
But Attach just goes right through the middle.
I mean, I don't know how Orbit has let this happen, but ooh. So
he could have gotten the dunk, but he plays it safe. Keeps his forward position. All four go down for Orbit. This is a great position for FaZe to be in.
In the position that he was in, though, like, you would have been taking fire, like, if there was anybody. Oh, look at that.
His own teammate.
What in the world is this?
But wait, Zuma's finding more kills. This push is still well alive as the drone does get reset. That was just unfortunate for FaZe. I mean, he tosses the drone for a shot, but his teammate intercepts it. And
so what happens there is they were throwing the drone into the goal. The player on their team jumped in front of it, intercepted it, and then didn't realize that he had intercepted it because there's that little delay, right? And then he probably thinks he's still firing, just takes it and throws it off of the map. It's about as poorly a coordinated play as you can get there from FaZe.
Yeah, that's just unfortunate. Now Zero poised to hit the 1 point toss here. He's going to let this one fly. There you go. Takes the 1 point toss. Orbit reestablishing their lead here. Still a very fragile one as Zero continuing to slay behind enemy lines. Very important that he maintains this forward position near the top. Well, he's outside Grandma's house, but he wants to back up and try to take out Clayster if possible.
Yeah, and you see it's going to be Zero getting taken out there, but the drone's still in favor of Orbit. It's going to be FaZe just trying to make their way back towards middle map. And they've just been pushed all the way back. Orbit's done a fantastic job here in the first half, just gaining map control. But here is FaZe's chance. They pick up some kills. They have drone control. Now it's whether they can get down bike path here, but Joe just doing a fantastic job locking down that bridge area.
Yeah, Joe working with Zero just to stay alive and slow down the FaZe push here. Joe's actually pushed very far forward. Does spot the final FaZe player. Takes out Attach from behind. They could not pick up the drone. Oh, but he gets taken out there. As that's just unfortunate. FaZe hold on the defensive end. As they start to pick up kills, start to reestablish their map control as well. 3 go down for Orbit, 1 point coming off respawn. This is a well set up push from FaZe. Let's see if they can capitalize with the score here.
Yep, keep an eye on the mini-map for those blue arrows. They're spawning in that top side, and if Enable can pick up some kills here off the spawn, this can be a rally for FaZe Clan. You're going to see Clay just diving in. He's going to get a 2 point play, and now he's going to get set up all the way in the back by Baseball Field, and this is where you see on the statue, this is where FaZe can make an impact. You see Zuma get one, sees one player fly over him, big kill there, taking out Urban.
Now continuing to push on forward. He still has Clayster to work off of. Will spot one player near the bike path. Earns the bombardment with that kill. Top over to the drone carrier. It's going to be attached. Could pass his teammate for a dunk, but he's going to get it himself as now FaZe starting to build a lead. They go up by 3 points. Time winding down the first half.
Yeah, and once you saw FaZe get control of that statue area here in the back, you knew they were going to go on a little bit of a relay, and it's still Orbit trying to rotate back, get control of their base. It's just not able to do so thus far. The kill's just being traded beautifully by FaZe Clan. Enable now pushes up. He gets to as one player behind him, not able to pick it up, but I can actually hear the communication from the FaZe players as Zuma tries to push all the way down through bowling here. Let's see how FaZe tries to put another point on the last 15 seconds.
Well, he falls, still streaks to work with. Less than 10 seconds remaining. There's no way Orbit are going to be able to get a toss off here as they start to push forward. Yeah, he's so far back. That's going to do it for the first half. FaZe, they surge at the end of the first half, getting dunk after dunk. Zuma getting streaked out, up by 3 points going into the second half. They're looking good to close this one out 3-0.
Yeah, and you see how devastating it can be, though, when you get control of bike path and you get control of the drone and you're spawning that team topside. It's when you're trying to get back towards baseball field, spawning in, it's very difficult to fight those fights on the statue.
Yeah, and at the same time, it's like you don't really want to overextend because normally you have a player near the middle trains cutting off the mid tunnel. So if you want to get out of that, you have to go all the way like through barn and towards the other team's side of the map, which is such an investment to make.
It's going to be FaZe picking up 2 kills here early at the beginning of the second half, and we'll see now that they grab that third. They're going to grab the drone and try and push up into the base of Orbit. And we'll see the drone gets tossed down here by Enable. Orbit now gets control of their base, and it's going to be FaZe just trying to slow this down, use some streaks, and you saw that ending poorly. Like, we all saw that ending poorly.
Through the roof, takes out Enable. Waste of a bombardment there from Zuma as Orbit able to find 2 fighting out of their base behind enemy lines. You see Zuma continuing to do damage. Now it's going to be Joe. Maybe he's a little bit too far pushed up. Let's see, he can't make anything happen. I gotta go back over to Zuma. 22 and 12 right now. Still with some streaks to work with. As he falls, it's Enable, the next one in line.
Now, all FaZe has to do is control this bike path area. I just want to keep putting this emphasis on it, that this is the area of the map that Enable's fighting and that you need to control if you're going to win this map on uplink, because just spawning that team out topside, it just forces those long rotations back to the base. And even if they want to go on the overextension, they really only have that one rails area to get through in the middle of the map, and it's such an easy choke to lock down.
Scorchers don't pick up anything as Zuma calls them in. 2 fall for Orbit. Continue to push on forward. Enable with this positioning to work with. Still, FaZe more concerned about getting kills around the map and slaying the opposing team than moving the objective second, but this has given Orbit some valuable breathing room. They now push up on the map. Joe looking to control the enemy team side of bike path, but it looks like Clayster knows exactly what's going on. Only moment before he's able to pick up that kill. Attach looks like he's got his rewind ready to work with. Still, FaZe looking to slay first, play the objective second.
Yeah, I mean, we have not seen any points go down here in the second half, but FaZe has clearly been in control. You can just see the 1-point throw go over the top. That is going to miss. It looks like there's going to be 2 players, though, that were actually in the base of Orbit from FaZe. They get quickly cleaned up, though. It's going to be Zero able to grab 1 as he pushes out with Rated. Now Orbit looks to go on the offensive.
Okay, moving over to Clayster. He's pretty close to his overdrive payload, and we all know how impactful that could be, especially in a game of like uplink. Could force a score to happen as now Orbit's starting to push forward. Looks like Urban used his payload. Not going to have that for his next respawn. Pushing forward, 3 go down for FaZe. It's going to be Joe. Bombardment. Actually, Trinity Rocket's not being called in. Joe finds Attach. Trinity Rockets don't find much. Zuma, not a lot accomplished with his score streaks, but still FaZe able to slow the game down with them. 2 fall for Orbit. FaZe now looking to fight back from their base.
Yeah, it's just by watching this game through the first, 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes or so, it's just been FaZe all on the Orbit side of the map. Like, this is the first opportunity we're seeing Orbit actually get into FaZe territory. Like, that's why it's kind of odd. For a second half that we've seen no scores, I feel like it's really been dominated by FaZe Clan this far.
Yep, as 2 fall from FaZe. That was a good opportunity if Zero was able to stay alive because he had his own overdrive to work with. And now Rated, he's thinking a little too far ahead here. He's already second for the spawn trap, but his teammates don't even have control over the middle of the map. Seems like Orbit, they're skipping steps when it comes to getting this relay down and getting scores on the board.
I understand what he's trying to do. He's trying to force players of FaZe to rotate back, and he's trying to open up some more lanes for his teammates to operate. But FaZe is just not biting for it. Right there, though, you're going to see Urban and Ray to pick up a kill at the same time. So now it's going to open things up for Ray to get set up on the statue and for the spawn trap to come in. That's a huge kill there on a Clayster rotating back to the base.
But Rated falls, and now Urban's forced to drop the drone. Finds one more player. 3 down for FaZe right now. This is the opportunity for Orbit. The 1-point toss comes in, and they score. Orbit making it a 1-possession game. But they're running out of time to work with, Mr. X. A minute 10 left on the clock.
FaZe has to be careful, though. Like, the stall tactic has been working up until this point, but they've given up a lot of map control to Orbit now, and the aggression of Orbit's really paying off. Enable needs to go big here, set up on top of the bridge. He's going to land some shots, and he's going to fall. Just being a nuisance here is enabled, but this is such a power position. He's locking it down, and it is a big reason that Faze may end up taking this game. Those 2 kills are massive.
And then Zuma just goes ahead, pops his reactive armor, soaks up some damage, but his teammate able to trade out the kill there onto Joe. Now Faze is in forward position to work with Enable, just being a nuisance behind enemy lines. As he falls, it's going to be Clayster popping his overdrive, zipping past players, but can't get a score. Now 30 seconds remaining, Faze close to 3-0ing Orbit here.
Yeah, and with the drone in hand, Orbit is actually looking like they're going to go on the overextension with it, and they have an overdrive of their own. So with 24 seconds left, can Orbit get the drone in to tie this up with a 2-point play? It's going to be in the hands of Zero. He's going to get a melee.
Trying to reset it.
Trying to reset it there, but he's going to actually get taken out by Attach, and it's going to be rated trying to get over towards the drone with 10 seconds left.
That's game.
It looks like this should be game, but if you're Orbit, why not have used the overdrive earlier?
I mean, yeah, they had a lot of time to use it. Faze, they're going to close this series out as they advance to the bracket portion here at the PlayStation Experience with a swift 3-0 over Orbit. European team, gotta say, we saw a lot of mistakes in the search and destroy from them, as well as the uplink, and that final push there from Orbit, that's exactly why you can't push to the courtyard side of the map.
You can't push towards that courtyard side, and also you see just the small mistakes coming in. Right there, you had 2 players in support. You needed to use the overdrive. Even if you get nothing out of it there, like that's your best chance of making a play happen.
The game winds up ending, and he doesn't even use it in a good position. He uses it off respawn, but at that moment, the game is already over. I mean, they didn't even give themselves a chance to make a play happen off of the overdrive.
Realistically, you have no option but to use it there. I mean, with 15 seconds left, there's really no great situation after that where you're going to find to use overdrive except the way they used it, which was coming off of the spawn. But very good look from Faze Clan here in this series against Orbit. They take it 3-0. Let's take a look at the stats from the uplink.
Yeah, Zuma leading the charge here. He goes positive 10. Everybody else from Faze around the even area, whereas on the side of Orbit, rough game for Joe as he goes negative 7. But Faze continue to impress, and they're living up to our expectations so far entering the weekend.
They have been absolutely amazing thus far at this event. I'm excited to see as they